I'm Kirsten Green, and coming up on WVU News, see how pantries are in need of food to provide a good meal for the holidays.
This holiday season has thousands of Americans looking for bargains. I'm Erin Murray, and coming up on WVU News, I'll tell you where they're going to find these deals.
I'm Katie Lusso, and coming up next on WVU News, I'll show you some of the consequences of drinking and getting behind the wheel. WVU News starts now.
With the holiday season in full swing, millions of Americans will hit the road to visit family and friends. I'm Ben Katko.
But a trip to visit loved ones could turn deadly in the blink of an eye. I'm Carrie Lynn Galiotis, and you're watching WVU News, a newscast produced by journalism students at West Virginia University.
An estimated 9 out of 10 Americans will travel by car to reach their destination this holiday season.
But nearly 1,000 travelers will lose their lives on the highways, half of them in alcohol-related crashes. Katie Lusso joins us now with One Father's Crusade to put a stop to drinking and driving.
Thanks, guys. A father loses his only son to driving and drinking, and now he travels the country with a clear message that should make you think twice before getting behind the wheel. Vernon Hillier has one purpose in life: to educate young men and women about the dangers of drunk driving. I recently met this father who is doing all he can to keep drunk drivers off the road.
I buried a 21-year-old son last year.
In September of 2008, Vernon Hiller lost his son to a drunk driving accident. His son was the one driving drunk, and this was the car he crashed.
Life has changed a whole lot. I miss him in a world's passion. I miss him. But there's nothing I can do to bring him back. So the only thing I can do today is keep these other kids from going with him.
Rather than sit back and give up, he goes out of his way to tell everyone his son Brandon's story.
My job in life is to save as many kids from alcohol death that I can.
Authorities say that on average, someone is killed by a drunk driver in the United States every 40 minutes.
It just affects so many facets of somebody's life. If your insurance is canceled and you have to go get insurance on another vehicle, you get your vehicle fixed and you want to get it insured, most likely you're going to have to get high-risk insurance.
In some cases, in order to get your license back, you have to have an interlock system installed in your car as well.
Officials say that the interlock system is one of the most effective ways to prevent DUI offenders from driving drunk again. In order to start your car, you blow into the mouthpiece to make sure your blood alcohol content level is below 0.02.
Unfortunately, Brandon didn't get another chance.
I mean, the first officer said, first you need to tell me if you're Mr. Hillier. I said, yes, I am. The second question was, are you home alone? I said, no, I'm not. My fiancée is here. And they said, well, we got some really bad news. Your son Brandon was in a very violent car accident and was killed.
Hillier says that he hopes by sharing his story, he can keep other parents from having to go through the pain that he went through losing a child.
MAD, or Mothers Against Drunk Driving, says that between Thanksgiving and New Year's is the deadliest time of year for alcohol-related crashes. If you would like to learn more about their campaign to end drunk driving, you can visit the address at the bottom of your screen.
Understanding the consequences of alcohol, drugs, and sex are some of the life lessons that are being taught to teenagers. The U.S. government recently granted $125 million to schools across America to educate their students about these topics. And as I found out, Morgantown High School is taking a unique approach to teaching these controversial issues. Statistics show that roughly 1/3 of all teen girls in the United States will get pregnant during their teenage years, and 19 million new STD infections occur each year. But in Donna Monahan's classroom at Morgantown High School, the students here are taking a different approach to help in curbing these issues.
They are able to go out into the community at other school requests and deliver age-appropriate lessons that cover adolescent health issue topics.
1 in 5 students in 8th grade to 12th grade have used drugs. And the group of students at MHS, known as peer educators, are trying to stop the growing numbers.
I think it's a good thing to, let other kids know what you can prevent or what, you can help with.
The students at Morgantown High School that are aspiring to become peer educators spend a year on this side of the classroom learning the material. After they've learned everything they need to know on the other side of the classroom, they get their chance to stand up here and teach the new material they've learned to a whole new generation of students.
You learn the lessons, you do presentations, like we do a puppet show for preschool, and then we do like the HIV/AIDS lesson and STDs for high schoolers and middle schoolers.
Monahan says that while some students want to be peer educators because it will help with their careers later in life, that some students develop a few new skills for themselves. The Morgantown High School students are about halfway through their peer training class. The teenagers will begin teaching other kids throughout the state sometime next year.
While one school is teaching students how to deal with peer pressure, another school is focusing on how to manage money. A new partnership between United Bank and Westwood Middle School helps students learn the basics of finance and economics. It's a new approach to learning about money that is hands-on, and the positive effects are being felt by both the students and the bank employees.
If they're the same
in Europe.
It's fun, really. It's an interruption to what you do all day. And it's a new face, and all of us have really enjoyed it. So I think we walk in and want to have a good time with them and help them learn and get the most they can out of it.
The Junior Achievement Program helps kids create a budget and teaches them about the basics of money. For more information about the program, visit the address at the bottom of your screen.
The value of a dollar is more important than ever. With the economy in a recession, kids and their parents are trying to get the most bang for their buck this holiday season.
And reporter Aaron Murray has more on how consumers are searching for the biggest Christmas savings and where to find them.
Around 30 million Americans are looking for bargains this holiday season, and it's no surprise with the unemployment rate at 10%. Shoppers are saying no to traditional department stores and yes to the local pawn shop.
You know, whenever there's an economic downturn, you get some of that. And there's people that's part of their own private economy, that they come in once a month, pawn their stuff, get some money to make bills.
So if you need to get some extra cash now, pawning that beloved item can make the difference. Even though giving up a personal possession seems hard to do, an average of between 70 and 80% of all items pawned are actually redeemed. And for Justin Wolf, playing Santa wouldn't be possible without the deals at this pawn shop.
Actually, we're doing really good now, but when I was needing the money, yeah, it was definitely because of the economy. You know, with she had a problem with her job, and I was the only one working, so it's just, you know, needing a little extra money.
And if you're simply looking for a great deal for a gift that's cheaper, officials say pawn shops offer deals that most retail stores can't compete with.
A lot of people come in here, they've been to the big chain stores, and they see we sell stuff for half or lower than what they're buying out there. Rifles, electronics, jewelry, we sell for a fraction of what the jewelry stores sell for.
And in today's economy, it's important to stretch your dollar further because the average family spends over $400 on Christmas alone. Aaron Murray, WVU News, Morgantown.
You know, Carrie Lynn, for many Americans this Christmas, there won't be any gifts under the tree. In fact, putting food on the table is becoming much more difficult.
That's right, Ben. Millions of Americans go hungry each day. Kirsten Green joins us with more on how food pantries are struggling to keep up with the growing demand and what you can do to help. Kirsten?
Thanks, Carrie Lynn. The United States is experiencing the highest level of poverty since the Great Depression. The U.S. Department of Agriculture reports that nearly 50 million Americans do not get enough to eat. And that demand means many people are turning to their local food banks for help. That is one sound that food pantry volunteer Edith Bilson likes to hear. But since the downturn in the economy, she says the number of needy individuals is greater than food collected.
It's interesting that the increase has just been in the ones. We didn't used to get a lot of ones. We'd get a family. Now we get one.
In 2008, the Christian Help Food Pantry served over 4,000 households. But the number of applicants grew significantly more than last year.
A lot of low-income families come in regularly, and we try to give them as much as we can.
But it's not enough. Pantries are having trouble keeping up with the demand for food. Households receive a 3-day supply of meals per person. But since the economic trouble, pantries are finding it harder to keep the shelves stocked. The problem just isn't at home. Across the country, 1 out of 10 families go hungry each year. But for Edith Bilson, every donation counts.
I feel like I'm a little child again when I go through the donations, see what's in, what kind of vegetables they have, what kind of bread they have.
And during this time of year, when the unemployment rate is at an all-time high, local pantries are handing out over 100 meals a week to the less fortunate. The Christian Help Food Pantry has been giving back to the community for over 34 years. And if you would like to donate to Christian Help or a food pantry near you, visit www.feedingamerica.org. Ben and Carrie Lynn, back to you.
Thanks, Kirsten. Well, Ben, many Mountaineer sports teams are experiencing great success this year.
They sure are, Carrie Lynn. And the very young women's basketball team has been a pleasant surprise. Coming up on WVU Sports, we'll show you one junior who's quickly becoming the leader of the Mountaineer basketball team.
Ever since I was little, I know what my potential is, and I won't settle for anything less. If I know if I can get an A in the class, then I'm going to get an A in the class. To be able to do academics and sports, I think that is a great role model for little kids to look up to, because not all little kids are going to be able to go and play Division I basketball, but they can go to college and get an education.
Well, Carrie Lynn, most teams have to wait until March to get into their first tournament of the season.
That's right, Ben, but the women's Mountaineer basketball team has already played in two. Ben Eschenbaugh joins us with more. Ben?
For the first time in school history, the women's Mountaineer basketball team started the year in the preseason National Invitational Tournament. A critical piece to the Mountaineers roster this season is leading scorer Liz Rapella. With NCAA tournament hopes resting on the Mountaineers' leading scorer, Chip Fontanazza recently caught up with the team captain to learn more about the rigors of playing in the Big East.
The Mountaineer women's basketball team is one of the youngest teams in the nation with no seniors on its roster, and one player has stepped up to become the leader of this inexperienced squad.
I think last year was a little tougher because you come into the season as a sophomore and you're trying to lead a team when you haven't really done anything. So if you're trying to lead, people are looking at you saying, what have you done yet?
Head coach Mike Carey says Rapella's leadership ability doesn't surprise him.
Liz has done a great job since she's been here. She really has, on and off the floor. You know, even the other night when we were struggling to score and she stepped up.
Last year as a sophomore, Rapella was looked at as the leader on the team because her freshman season, she had 7 seniors to learn from. So combine that year and her freshman year together, and Rapella says that helped prepare her for her junior season.
It was a lot easier doing it this year. And last year was more of leading by example, and this year it's more verbal.
Despite her busy schedule, the team says she stays very calm.
She never has an attitude, you know, like she's just always motivated and never is negative.
And that motivation and leadership ability has helped lead the Mountaineers to a championship in the Nugget Classic to open up the season. Chip Fontanazza, WVU News, Morgantown.
And so far this season, Rapella is averaging over 15 points a game and has led the team to a current record of 7-1. Ben and Carrie Lynn, back to you.
Thanks, Ben. And with their 9th win of the season, the Mountaineer football team is headed to the Gator Bowl on January 1st in Jacksonville, Florida.
And congrats to the team. Well, that does it for the fall semester, which means this is the last WVU News this year. I'm Carrie Lynn Galiotis.
And I'm Ben Katko. Be sure to visit us online at itunes.wvu.edu.
You can also watch any of our shows on YouTube. The address is at the bottom of your screen. And we'll leave you with footage from a Morgantown home that's ready for Santa. Have a happy holiday, and thanks for watching WVU News.
All the way,